Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, people of all ages, welcome back to the Sticky Floors podcast. I am one of your hosts, CJ. I am joined by Mr. Will. Tonight, we are talking about the movie The Amateur. This is in theaters right now. Heavy spoilers for this conversation. You know, me and Mr. Will, we gonna tell you every scene, what happened, the character motivations, what the director was eating on that day when the scene happened. Like we deep dive into these joints. So if you don't want to know all those details, how the story went, what the key scenes were, and what did we think about it, you might want to press pause now and come back to this after you watch it. If you're a person that likes to know what you're getting into, you're gonna know because we're gonna break it down for you. So with that said, my man, Mr. Will, how you doing this evening?
I'm all right, man. What's good with you, yo?
Man, I'm chilling. This is good. I'm looking forward to talking about this movie. This was a good watch. Not bearing the lead with that. If this is your first time coming to the Sticky Floors podcast, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming and checking us out. Sometimes we cover movies that have been in theaters for a long time. Last week we did Street Kings. Please check that out if you haven't. This week we're doing The Amateur, which is in theaters. As I said, right now we're about to dive into this. As always, we start with the illustrious Mr. Will giving us the summary of the movie.
Yeah, man. This is I'm not gonna bury the lead. This was a dope movie.
Yeah, it
Um
is. It is.
the Amateur, directed by James Hawes and starring Rami Malek as Charles Heller, is a tightly wound espionage thriller that examines the cost of personal vengeance in a world governed by secrets. Charles Heller is a reclusive CIA cryptographer whose world is shattered when his wife is killed in a coordinated terrorist attack in London. When the agency he loyally served for years refuses to pursue those responsible, Heller, armed only with his intellect and digital prowess, takes matters into his own hands. What begins as an act of grief fueled defiance quickly escalates into a perilous journey across international borders. Heller, a man trained to decode secrets, must now confront and, in the flesh, he must navigate a shadowy web of espionage, betrayal, and hidden agendas. As he inches closer to the truth, he discovers that the real threat may not lie in the distant terror cells, but much closer to home.
There it is, man. Yo, this movie right from the beginning, I'm gonna say that sometimes you can blend too many genres together and it might not work.
Yeah.
So if you do like this is like the revenge movie meets the espionage movie, sort of meets the mystery movie, but
Yeah.
they land the plane on this, and
Yeah.
I really have to give a shout out to writer, director, and the staff and the cast for successfully navigating a movie that's got these different things. And the center of it is, as you said, Rami Malek, who's really good in this film as Charles Heller.
Yeah, I think the fact that they lean into his personal traits and attributes very heavily lends itself to this being a very cohesive and very exciting tale of like revenge. It's not like your typical like, oh, you wronged me some way, somehow, some shape, form, and now I
Right.
got to go kill you and half a dozen other people. Like this is a guy who is very quirky, kind of socially awkward, if you will.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and it makes sense that he doesn't have children. He's married. He managed to find someone out of the billions of women on this planet that actually digs him for being a geek.
Right.
And it actually makes geeks look cool. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
these
it does.
nerdy types. And I even like the fact that like the bear played by Jon Bernthal, he's able to like make it an updated version of the star athlete and the academic award-winning number one student.
Yeah, yeah, it plays out. It plays out well, and Rami Malek is perfectly cast because if you've seen Mr. Robot, you buy
Oh
him
yeah,
as
dope.
the awkward sort of computer guy,
Yeah,
so he fits perfectly in it. He's very well
yeah,
cast, and then like you said, John Bernthal being there, it does play out a lot like that, especially when they do the scene at the lunch table scene
yeah.
kind of,
That's
and he's
that's a,
there with all the nerds. And shout out to my man who plays Carlos, who was from Focus.
yeah, yeah,
Like that. I forgot what his name is. I know you'll probably have it already, but I
yeah.
just like to see that guy. He was hilarious to me in Focus, and he could have. I felt like they could have gave him a little bit more to work with, but you said it before, the way that they have the certain people and the certain cast roles, they really fit well. And it just ties the story together. And like you said, they didn't over index the revenge part because they're very clear from the beginning. I'm looking for these four people, really these three people, and the woman is going to help me. And it's a tightly like done and laid out movie.
Yeah, it's Adrian Martinez, and
That's what it is. Yeah. Hilarious,
he
man.
always plays a geeky dude too. And I want to piggyback on something you just said too about like him teaming up with Inquiline. Um, you know,
Thank you for saying that too, because I could never understand what they were saying in the movie. All right, you said Inquiline is how I say it. All right,
yeah.
cool. So when I say it later on, it's gonna be like I knew the whole time. Okay, got it.
The
Got
reason
it.
being, even her name is dope. Well, her husband's code name that she adopts because it's an animal that lives habitually in the nest or abode of some other animal. So, like,
Mm,
her husband was a Russian spy who then, due to the whole situation with the USSR becoming just Russia again. And so now post Cold War, he's now trying to hide and, live in other country states and selling information to the US as like
mm-hmm.
an agent of theirs. And then all of a sudden his wife takes on his role. So it's like, like a partnership, some type of symbiotic relationship. So I thought that was dope.
Yeah. After he fell out a window, as is
Yeah,
known, as is
couldn't.
known to happen to many
That is
KGB
crazy when she
agents.
says that too. Like this is the life we live and we understand the
Right.
circumstances.
How
Uh,
about that?
and this is Mother Russia. But I think you touched upon something that was really dope. Is that like the balance, if you will, that they're able to strike with one another when they're going through all these different places. They don't bother to sit there and explain and be redundant and repetitive
Yeah.
about all what's going on. Like they pick up and they give the audience the chance to understand, like, yo, you're very mature and knowledgeable about these things
Yes.
outside of this world we've created, because it just carries over to all the other movies that you've probably watched that deal with revenge.
Yeah, yeah, it's a movie that assumes like you kind of know already the capability of the CIA, right? In terms of like
Yeah.
the data that they have access to,
Yeah.
that you live in a police state where
Mm-hmm.
cameras are everywhere, and
Yep.
and you also know that the technology allows that to be manipulated.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you never watch the movie and feel like, nah, that couldn't happen. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like even down to the idea of a drone strike being
Yeah.
misinterpreted or purposely displayed as like a suicide bombing. Like, yeah, at this point, everybody's like, yeah, that sure, I'm in. That makes sense. And you're right. The movie assumes that the audience comes in with a certain level of knowledge about these things and also about the espionage movie in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it also lends itself to a lot of real world facts and things that are publicized. Like you had the drone the drone traveling and following them, like,
Yes.
yeah, like
Yes.
they implement,
Yeah.
not only just guys on the ground and your regular shoot 'em up bang bang type of deal, but and utilizing the drone as a coordinated strike effort and chasing them and ensuring, because whether it be a manual drone or even like when I don't know if you remember those be all you can be army commercials where they're like,
Of
you could be
course.
a video,
Absolutely.
you could be a
Yeah.
video game guy, and also and then they show some guy in a room
Yeah,
with a
absolutely.
joystick, and they
Yeah,
got the
they got many men with that. They got look. Call of Duty is a simulator. They're
that's what I'm
trying
saying.
to. That's a simulator, man.
Exactly, first person shooter game. So like, and that was even based off of what's my man Snake's movie? I know
Oh,
it's
Metal Gear
yeah,
Solid,
Metal
man.
Gear. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
how
like,
about that?
you see how it evolves, and now all of a
Hmm.
sudden when he's holding the camera around his face doing a 360 joint and then putting his face on another
Great. I
cat,
love
another,
that scene. Very good scene. Yeah.
or even when he is explaining like how he was able to do all this in like 24 hours, like, yo, look, I know this person because of this camera view. I got cameras from the bank, the
Yes.
traffic light.
Yes.
Like the way they are able to fuse and logically explain the implementation of technology,
Hmm.
flawless, man, flawless.
Yeah, it works. It does work, and they also do a lot to establish Charlie's character as being somebody who's capable of doing that. Because I think they mentioned he's got like a 160
Yeah,
IQ or
yeah.
something like
I
that.
think it was
So
like 180. They said like
yeah,
they were
it was high.
crazy.
It was a high number.
And the fact that like it's not like a secret, like everybody's like, no,
Oh yeah,
everything that we have he wrote, like
right,
he wrote all
right,
the surveillance stuff.
right. Absolutely.
So they were like, you ever think that you underestimated this dude?
Yeah.
like you
Yeah,
hide it.
right. And that's a good segue to the physical part of it is
Yeah.
once his wife is murdered, he basically blackmails the CIA, which we're gonna get into that a little bit later. He blackmails the CIA into helping him to become a field agent. And that's
Yeah.
where you get like the Colonel Henderson character, which is played by the illustrious Lawrence Fishburne, which we talked about in like when we did The Matrix and everything, movies like that. And Boys in the Hood. So then like he goes through the training. Obviously, he's not gonna be good at it. And I like that they didn't do that. I like that they didn't try to make it seem like
he got better over time. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they could have did the training montage and showed him doing pull-ups and push-ups in his room and showed him doing judo. And then all of a sudden, like 3 months later, he's ready to go out in the field. He's got, you know, cuts in his body and muscle.
Yeah.
But they were like, nah, that's not gonna happen.
That's not realistic.
And he realizes it, and then so does Laurence Fishburne's character.
You know, and that's the other thing too. Like, other than the physical, there's a psychological component, and the way that they're able to assess and analyze these guys in real time and be like, nah, you're not a killer. This is what you do well. But I thought that they might have tipped their hand when they saw that he was able to put that bomb together real quick and was like, yo, you mind if I take this joint? Right then and there, that should have like piqued more curiosity on their part. Yeah. I think they played themselves with that aspect without like fully analyzing that aspect.
Yeah, and you know, it also makes you think some about in the real world, the difference between the soldier who has to fight like on the ground against someone, boots on the ground, as they say, versus the person that actually can use the drone and just press a button. The detachment of that kind of violence from one person to the other sort of shows like where modern warfare is going and where it's moving away from.
The scary part is like we haven't even talked about the implementation of AI, like how that's being utilized. You know what I mean? Whether it be a physical robot or just even say something like, you know, Siri or whatever have you. And the more impressive thing in a evil genius kind of way is that all of the technology that we have right now, governments and agencies are years ahead, decades ahead. Yeah. So like when we're getting Siri on an iPhone or whatever have you, they were like, man, we had that back in 80. You know what I mean? Like we was rocking this before.
I remember that when we did what was it called? Minority Report. I remember you saying that too when we did Minority Report. It's also interesting to think that to that point, the technology that's being shown in this movie feels like it's very familiar now. It doesn't. Yeah. Remember when we used to go to movies and used to feel like the technology was something that you didn't see? Yeah. Now it feels like, nah, I could do that at my house.
Yeah. Like, and great segue, because when he's going on YouTube for picking a lock.
I love that. Listen, I use YouTube all the time for stuff.
That joint is crazy. How he's like the CIA didn't teach him that.
Right, but he can learn on YouTube. Right. What can't you learn on YouTube? How about it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, that was bugged out, man. Like,
it is. I mean, like people at one time weren't people using like AI that told them how to make cocaine and crack and stuff.
Yeah,
crazy,
man.
Right. And they had to take that down. Like, no, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, you can't do all that, man.
The C in chat is not for crack. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. But yeah, man. So the movie, definitely. So you see Charlie go through the sort of the bosses, right? It's like the video game kind of feel. Boss 1, boss 2, boss 3, and he becomes more and more efficient at how he's killing people. And
he even makes that observation too, which is dope.
Yeah, and the thinking man's way that he goes about the setup for everyone reminded me a little bit of like Saw, you know, like them Saw traps where it's like you're in the room now and you have 15 seconds. Like he was kind of doing that to people. Like, you're in this swimming pool. I've been sending waves to crack the pool the whole time. You got 15 seconds to float to the thing. Very, very Saw-ish.
You know, and that's the thing too, man. Like the ability to exploit or even find the slightest weakness in your enemy, and to capitalize on it. Like this guy, he's a known terrorist, and he out here on some flamboyant Playboy Bruce Wayne stuff. Right. Like you can't have
with the chains on.
Yo, you can't do that.
Hour, right, taking shots.
What are you doing
in the VIP section? I know.
Like what? You don't
I
think somebody's
know.
gonna find you in this day and age? And the fact that like even with the half like COVID mask, the surgical mask on, I'm sitting here like, you guys don't have anything better? Like at least get a Nike Tech football mask or something, man, like a ski mask joint. Like go
Something that's
old
gonna work a little better. Yeah.
yeah, get the snake eyes joint or the firefly joint, man. Like, what is you
Something.
doing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
But I mean the thing is like they out there and that's how Charlie catches them, and he tracks each person down and as a viewer, it's fun to watch. Like
Dude,
this
I think
it's
I don't mean to interject, but speaking of that part, the part where he traps Gretchen into like the little cage joint.
I love it. Oh, with the pollen joint.
Yeah, like
Listen, I felt her pain because I got allergies, and I was like,
so
"Oh, I'd
allergies
have
right
been dead."
now.
I was like, "What a creative way to torture someone."
And the thing is, like, you kind of get the sense, like, he's like, yo, if you just tell me, I would let you out. Even though that would be a mistake, he's like, yo, I'd let
He's
you out.
naive enough to do it.
Yeah, you
Yes,
know what I mean?
yes,
So that part is believable. Even him getting thrashed by someone who's probably not as strong as him. It's
yeah.
just
She
that she's
stomped him
more
out, man.
coordinated and
Yes,
she's more knowledgeable in the field. Like she
yes,
whoops his you
yeah,
know what, man.
yeah, and runs away from him. Everything.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because he's not that dude.
Yeah. And the fact that like she's such in like survival mode and a panic that her peripheral vision doesn't see that van or doesn't
Yeah,
even think like, oh, I'm running into a busy street. I might
yeah,
get hit by a car.
yeah,
She like all of
yeah,
that seems very plausible.
yeah. Well, she was looking for some Claritin, so I mean, like, I know that.
I need a
Yeah,
leg rub.
listen, dog. If you in a tank and somebody pushes that much pollen into your face, dog, all you thinking about is she was probably running to a CVS or whatever they have in London to try to get something, some Zyrtec D. Like, my God, that was brutal.
But the fact that it's so ironic that she's in a medical facility, and a medical facility that specializes in asthma and other breathing issues, and on top of it, the hose that connects to the air duct above her is
Yeah,
now big. He's like, yo. And the irony is the lady who sold him the flowers, she's like, oh, you must have done something bad because he's buying all the lilies and
yeah, yeah,
all,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's like, nah, not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, I like that. I
Yo.
like that. It's a couple good one-liners in here. It definitely, yeah, it definitely is that, man.
Oh
Yeah, I
man.
mean, it really, if you're watching this and you're like, yo, should I go check this out? Absolutely. Like
Oh yeah.
it is, and this is the thing I was thinking about. This season, we've probably seen the most movies in theaters,
Yeah.
right? And we got another one coming next week. This was like I really enjoyed watching this film.
Hmm.
Like I said, like and I was glad. I'm glad that we do like the blockbuster type of movie. I'm glad that we do a movie like Captain America 4, but I'm also glad that we do something like this. I'm glad that we did a movie like Black Bag because sometimes people act there's no original stories in Hollywood, and I know
Hmm.
this is a remake, so that's I know that's true too. But like these movies are good movies, and they're a good time in the theater. And for people that have fallen out of love with like the experience of going to the movies, you're missing out on something good because this is an entertaining watch.
You know what? That's a dope topic right there, man. Kudos to CJ for bringing that up. I know that a lot of moviegoers and even pundits often critique and criticize the superhero genre and
Hmm.
somehow believe that that's the only film being made. But these
Right.
things come in waves. You
Yeah.
know, at one point it was vampires and werewolves. Another time
Yeah.
it was witches and
Yeah.
wizards. You know, like
Hmm.
and even preceding all of that, it was westerns, and
Yeah.
then gangster movies. You know,
And
Italian.
alien pictures and
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. Like, so you know, this selective memory or recalling of a certain type of thing that's going on, I think it shortchanges everyone because it doesn't
It
allow
does.
individuals to really fully engulf themselves in the movie experience. I think that's the
Absolutely.
reason why now, son, it cost me like $24 for me, and then $24 for my lady just to go see
I
this
know.
movie, man. Like,
I know. It's
I'm
crazy.
just for a movie. I'm
I
sitting here
know.
like, are you kidding me?
I know. It's I know, man. And yeah, I mean, yeah, the movie going experience has like everything else has gone up.
Yep.
But I think it's important that people remember that there's good movies being made, and
Mm-hmm.
it's good. Like this is good. Like this, I even think. Well, we'll get into my hot takes. I'm not gonna spoil that right now. But yeah, but I mean, good movie, and then ends well. You know what I mean? Like
You love sticking
I
the
like I
landing.
like how I like how it landed it. You know, and it would have been it. I like that it in the end Charlie doesn't get the last guy by
Mm.
trying to blow him up or like a fist fight or I shot you and my hand is shaking afterward because I never did it or he stabbed him. He was like, "No, I called the cops. I did what any respectable citizen would have done.
Oh man.
I called them. I called the officers, and now
I
they're gonna
needed help. I
arrest you."
called 911.
Right? Exactly. I know when I'm outside my depth here and he does it, and like I like that. Like that made sense for me. If he would have
Yeah.
ended up by like, some Jason Bourne, he fighting the dude there, I'd be like, dog, come on,
Get
you
out of here
couldn't
with
beat
that.
the lady with pollen in her in her lungs almost killed you. This dude will crush you, man.
Yo, but the thing that's dope about that is that when he has his opportunity to like, relive him enacting a live bullet in the chamber type of situation, he sits there and he's like, I just wanted you to understand what it means to be in that position of fear,
Yes,
of uncertainty, of helplessness. And then
yes,
once he has that, he calmly sits down and grabs the mug and starts sipping on whatever it is that.
yeah, with both
Yeah,
hands,
I
like
like
that, like like weird, like he did a weird moment right there. I know. I'm one of them dudes who's like, what is this dude on, man?
And the fact that like I think people don't understand, or they either underestimate or undervalue rather that you can be a hero, but you can be an intellectual hero. It doesn't have to
Of course,
be
yes,
very demonstrative as far as your physical prowess.
yes,
So he's sitting there talking to them and letting the evil bad guy explain all this and thinking that he's going to get his comeuppance, and
hmm
he's that arrogant to think that he's smarter than Charlie. And I think that's another thing. People always assuming that they're the smartest person, or the willingness, or the ability to demonstrate that they're the smartest person in the room. And meanwhile, this dude is like, yeah, I'm just calculating, doing the math in my head by the time we
yeah.
get into finished waters, so that, you know what,
How
you
about
can't
that?
turn around. You're going to mince me. So yeah, you kill me, but you and everything out here is going to die with me.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. I mean, like I said, I thought it did end well, and I like how they completed the journey for Charlie's character in
Yeah.
this. I want to get revenge. I want to get these people kind of story. So yeah, so that's where it is, man. So yo, let's go into the cake, man. I feel like we kind of have set that up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go for I'll go first on my cake,
All
man.
right.
Couple things. Okay. So one of the things I thought the movie handled really well was Charlie's reaction to Sarah's death, right?
Yeah.
And I think Rami Malek does a great job with this because Sarah's death is an important part of the story, but it's not the main part of the story. So the
Mm.
movie has to figure out how to deal with it enough for you to believe that it's significant enough to make him
Yeah.
change his life, but not to weigh the movie down so much you don't get to the action or the semi action that you want to see. His scene where he's like on the bed crying and everything, like he
Mm.
really does well with it. And that's where I think his acting chops just showed. I also thought they found the perfect amount of time between showing that grief and then getting on to the next thing. So I just thought they stuck it on that. We talked a little about the graphics and the digital sleuth thing and the way they show the cameras. I just like how they did that throughout it. We also talked
Mm.
about using the YouTube part. I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah.
too. Great thing there. I like the scene, and it kind of comes back at the end. You just mentioned it, where Henderson kind of shows Charlie like you're not really a killer, and he just tells him like this is not for you, son. Like you're not built for this, right? And I like that because it's true, and we know it, and so does he. And too often in movies, I think they make it seem like you could just be mad and become a killer, but
Yeah.
like if your day was just bad enough, you can kill 5 gang members. But that's not true, right? That's not how it
Charles
works in real life.
Bronson, Death Wish.
Right. 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 My coffee was cold. Everybody dies. That's not how it works. I like how they did that. They grounded it in reality with that. And I like that part. And then the last scene, or the scene when they try to come and kill him and what was her name again? Inquiline?
Yeah, Inquali.
Yeah, that what you
Inquiline.
said. Inquiline, right. when they do that, I just like how they did the whole escape scene, them running through the
Oh,
house. I like that she
yeah.
was prepared. She had the turkeys set up.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I like that scene. That's my kick.
Yo, that you know what? That's a great segue, man. I just like the overall theme of the movie. You know what I mean? Like the combination of the espionage, thriller, action, and
Hmm.
having it being grounded in real life. Like
Yeah.
if you're a spy, they're going to teach you tradecraft, and some of
Hmm.
the things you're going to learn is different ways to counter maneuver and outthink your opponent. It's not necessarily about being the strongest or you're the
Right.
fastest, whatever have you. It's about being the one who's able to strategize properly and
Right.
using your surroundings to your benefit. So, like you said, when they're going through there, she even says it. Like the turkeys are a better form of an alarm system than an actual electronic ring or whatever have you.
About that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which could be turned off or
yeah,
manipulated in some
yep.
way.
So I definitely like that. I like the fact that Charlie's skill set lends itself to everything around him being
Hmm.
having the potential to off his enemies. The cast dope, man. I mean, from like CJ mentioned, Laurence Fishburne and Rami Malek. But and I also mentioned Adrian Martinez, and we both mentioned Jon Bernthal. But there's also a bunch of other people in there that I thought that should get some recognition. Starting first and foremost with Julianne Nicholson. She plays the basically the polar opposite of this character in Paradise, which I
Wait,
recommend
I haven't
everybody.
seen it yet. I haven't watched it yet.
I'm not
Don't
going to
get
talk about it, but I'm just saying I recommend everybody
Yeah.
watching it. Like she makes you want to hate her, and that's like a prerequisite, if you will, for a potentially good show, movie, whatever have you. Like if you
Got
can
you.
be emotionally invested in the characters,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know what I mean? Like that makes it more it's more of a credence as far as like, all right, this is a dope show. I also want to give you all some shout outs to what's his name? Holt McKinley. McKinley. He's basically the guy that plays Alex Moore. And you always find him in different roles. He was in The Losers. He was the second in command
Oh
guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, so like he always plays like some type of villainous, like smart alecky type guy.
Yes.
I really like him. And also shout out to Danny Sapani. He was in not only Black Panther, he's the guy who had like all the marks in his back. And
Yes, that is that
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
That is. Yeah,
he was
that
in
is who I knew I remembered him
yeah,
from
no, I was
somewhere.
just saying, I knew
Yeah.
you've seen
No,
him.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's also in another spy movie with Maggie Q and Samuel L. Jackson. I just can't think of the name of the movie right now. But he's always like a very good character actor who, he'll have a scene that you'll notice and you'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's that guy. He's one of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely shout out to those dudes. I like also just in closing, I love, as CJ mentioned it before when he alluded to Mr. Robot, the hallucinations he has about his wife are vaguely similar to what he had in
They
Mr.
are.
Robot. And that was
Yes.
one of the things where I was like, you know what? This humanizes him, where
Yeah.
he's still being tormented by the
Yes.
loss of a family member or a loved one. And it's what drives him and provokes him. And you get his motivations as to why he
Yes.
continues to do it. Just because someone is not physically here maybe a month 2 months after the actual incident, it doesn't mean that you're not
You don't
still
still
going through the
feel him.
process. Yeah, you
Yeah.
still feel them there, and you still are wondering. Or he's in the club and he sees the chick with a raven colored
Hey,
hair, and then all of a sudden he's like, wait, is that
reminds me of
her?
his
And
wife.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's still walking forward, and then he's able to snap out of it because he sees what you call it, Henderson
Henderson.
coming
Yeah.
after him, and the ability to like switch it. And they keep talking about like, yo, you lose it in the moment, but then he's able to set off a depth charge inside the little bar.
Yes.
Like you thinking he's like, all right, I'm accepting my fate, whatever. And Henderson's giving him the speech about John Doe's and not being able to be found. And he's like, wow, he uses the cover of darkness and the smog and the smoke and everything, the chaos to get away. Dope.
Yeah.
And of course, like we mentioned before, the human aspect of Inquine wanting to just snuggle or be
I
laying
like
with
that scene.
somebody.
Yes.
Like
I
it
like
was
that.
touching and endearing, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I like that. Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, a lot of good scenes in there, man. So
yeah,
yeah, cool. All right. A couple things I didn't like so much. And I think where this movie is. I'm gonna just preface it by saying I think some of these are kind of like a little nitpicky, but
Yeah.
that's me. Anyway, I feel like the bosses were a little too smart. Like they got I know that how they found the little chip in the phone clip. I
Yeah.
just thought that was like, yeah, all right, sure, you
I
got it, but I didn't like
I
that,
agree. I
like
agree.
that part.
I agree.
Charlie not wearing gloves when he breaks into somebody's apartment seemed a little weird just for somebody that smart, and like anybody who's watched Law and Order knows to wear gloves now before you do anything
Yeah.
in anybody's part. This is my old man thing. Yo, I can't read the text messages on phones, man. They need to make them phones bigger. They need to do something because like
I thought it was just me, but
no, dog, it's no, that's us.
I literally went to the lady and I was like, "Yo, what does that say?"
Yo, I
And, and she
couldn't read it.
and she told me like a couple of like a puzzle for my puzzle or things like that. But I was
Yo,
sitting there like, "Yo, how'd you peep that?" I could.
right. I couldn't read none of that, man. If you're gonna, for filmmakers, if you're gonna put a text message, you need to do like the thing where they blow it up and show it on the screen
Yeah.
so everybody can see it, or you need to put that phone really close to the thing because like
Yeah.
I couldn't see what it was. I was like, man, I hope this isn't important
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know about it. The shape, there's shaky kind of camera work in this couple of scenes, like when he's running away from Henderson, the camera is moving all like this,
Yeah.
and then when they're on the boat, the camera is moving too. I was like, did they shoot this with Apple iPhone 16? It's like, what did they do, man? And I get it. I know like that's like the Jason Bourne kind of shaky
Yeah.
camera fight thing. For some reason, it just wasn't working for me for this film, so that was another thing. More Jon Bernthal. How about
Mm.
like he could have been in it a little more. When he comes back, it's almost like the movie remembered that he was
Yeah,
in
they're
it.
still in it. Yeah.
To say like, let's give him a scene. Like, like you said, he's been in The Bear. He's obviously been the Punisher. He's in The
Mm-hmm.
Accountant. Like people like this dude. He could have got a little bit more. And then my last joint is Henderson coming back at the end. I didn't like that. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted. He got the stat, or we got whatever. I got shot, as a matter of fact.
Now he got
Like,
shot in the side. I just don't know where it entered specifically,
yeah,
like
I
the kidney
mean,
or the
just
rib, lung, or the
something. Dog.
hip.
I just feel like there was some weight. Like his death had a weight because, like, I kind of felt like he was trying to help Charlie,
Yeah, he's
or
like
at least trying to help Charlie not die, violently. He was gonna
yeah.
die, but not violently. So then they got rid of him and brought him back. I just didn't love it. That's what I got.
No, I dig it, man. He was a reluctant participant at times. Fair enough.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Uh, uh, again, like CJ said, I'm nitpicking. It's not necessarily something I hated, but the movie lags in the beginning. Like I
it does.
felt it like a little bit slow.
I
But I
agree.
understand it's necessary because they're building up the momentum to get
Yeah,
to where they want to go. Um, we both have this thing with Colonel Robert Henderson, Laurence Fishburne's character. For me, it's him actually giving a like if you know anything or read anything about gun ownership or gun handling or anything like that, you
yes,
never
yes,
give
yeah.
somebody a gun with a live round. And this dude is like, click, 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 here, shoot
Yeah,
me. Like
yeah,
what? Like
yeah.
you're very
If he didn't do it, how is it? What is that proof of? Right. Go ahead.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like he could have just said, look, man, I could easily just, whatever, and go to the side and shoot. And he's like, yo, but I like you. You're like, I think we're friends. I don't have many friends, and I feel a closeness with you, a bond. And that to me, that just, but the way that they try to like excuse it and they double back and they're like,
I'm gonna bring it
yo, a
back.
friend
Yeah.
of mine was like, yo, when I had the opportunity to do it, yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada. So I get it, but I don't get it. Again, I'm going to reference the CIA deputy director and the CIA supervisor, Caleb Horowitz and Alex Moore, basically lying to the Secretary of Defense. Like, you really
With a
think,
straight face.
yeah, like you really
Yeah.
think she ain't gonna find out? Like,
Yeah. How about
really,
it?
fam? She doesn't have other resources at her
Other
disposal. That,
people that just work there that would be like,
like,
you
yo,
can't keep nothing. You can't keep nothing a secret at your job. Like,
not this job.
what can be a secret at a job, at any job, in the world? When can you keep a secret like from anybody? Come on.
It doesn't happen, yo. It doesn't happen. I think it's messed up that Charlie got Inquiline killed, man. Like she was chilling, yo.
Yeah.
Like
I
she,
liked her character. I felt like
yeah,
she had more room to go. Yeah.
yeah.
I felt
You
like
know what I
that
mean?
too.
But that gunboat, like, whatever caliber rounds that was,
Right.
that lit her whole chest on fire. And the fact that he had to leave her there, Something about that just seemed like, I get it, it gave a little peck on the forehead joint, but something about that is like, dang, that's an unnoble way for her to die. But it reinforced the whole Jane Doe, and you
This is
don't
what it
get this
is.
ceremonious, funeral escort down Main Street. And then
Yep.
last but not least, it's a cold world when the Secretary of Defense is like, all right, send out our operatives. And rather than the two of them like explaining, like, look, you can't kill him. I'm here to stop that, whatever. Sam, Laurence Fishburne just bodies him in the
Yeah,
laundromat.
right. How about that? Yeah.
And they're supposed to be on the same team,
Yeah, and there and that scene kind of happens and then it kind of goes away and it's not
Yeah.
even like really a follow up on
Nope.
it. So
They're just
yeah.
like, yo, it's part of the business. That's a
Right.
Tuesday.
Right. 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 How about it? Yeah. Good points. Good points. Yeah. I mean, like, there's things. Yeah. I mean, like, it's a good movie, and that's our things. All right. I got a couple of questions that I'm gonna hit you with.
All right.
All right. Here's my first one. Can anyone be trained to be a killer? In your opinion, like, even if the training happened, can anyone be trained to be a killer?
I think you can be trained, but does it stick? And how long are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, when these people are selective in these different agencies and branches of military service, repetitive things are drilled into them so that even a dummy can learn how to do certain things. So from that aspect, yeah. But can you become proficient? Can you become efficient? That's a whole different story. Like, what type of, killer can you be? I think that's the real question. You know what I mean?
Got it. Okay. How probable is it that Charlie would have been able to escape from Henderson 2 times in this film? Because he first, like you mentioned, the first time when he does the bomb thing,
Yeah.
and then he gets away from him again in the hotel. How probable is it that he could have really gotten away from Henderson?
Man, so here's my thing, man, with that. He's running through the chaos in the club, or whatever have you. If it's just Henderson, Charlie's younger than him, so he's faster than
Okay.
him. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I get it. But when he gets to the second bar and it's only one way in and one way out, like, I think he lets his guard down by saying, yo, here's a beer, whatever, whatever. And I think that is what allows him to escape. But if he's just on some like, yo, I'm just going to kill you and that's it, I think he could have did it. Like, stuck him under the table and,
Yeah, something.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Something, yeah.
And just keep it moving.
Yeah. I mean, people die every day, B.
Yeah.
That's what happens, right? Right.
People die every day, B. You be all right.
Right. Right. All right. All right. This is another question I was asked. So in real life, let's just say, like, I get the movie. The movie's good. But in real life, how far does Charlie actually get in his quest for revenge? Where does the movie in real life? Where does the movie
Yeah,
actually
like, he
stop?
doesn't even. I don't know. I don't have a creative, witty way to explain. He just doesn't get far. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
he doesn't get past the even initial training stage. I think they call this
Oh, okay.
bluff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is the CIA of the United States of America.
Yeah. They
If you
got to have
tell,
contingencies on
yeah, they
contingencies.
got contingencies. Like, you think these dudes weren't like, all right, we're gonna have this meeting. We've kept him down in the dark in his little office in his cubicle all day. He's not aware that his wife is dead. We have to fathom the possibility of him wanting revenge. And what does that entail? And what does he do? No, we got to keep tabs on him. He can't even touch a keyboard. He can't go near electronics. Like, they've
How
got
about
some,
that?
you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's so implausible.
There it is. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think he would make it very far.
No.
All right, yo, what's the last thing you used a YouTube instructional video to do?
Oh man. Wow.
Because he uses it to
I
pick a
use it all the
lock,
time.
right?
Yeah. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, I use it all the time.
What's the last thing that you can say on TV that you can say on camera that you use a YouTube
Yeah.
video for?
Wow. Let's just call it maintenance of
Okay.
of a personal item.
Maintenance
Maintenance.
of a person. Okay, cool.
Like,
That's enough.
how to fix. That's what we
Right.
call it. How to
I don't
fix.
want you to incriminate yourself. All right. So I have I had one question. I was gonna ask you the Jurassic Park question that we talked about. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do that because I got another question.
All right. All right.
And it's about the movie. And it came to me as we were talking. Do you think the movie should have actually shown the wife being killed?
Ooh.
Because you never actually see that. Like
Yeah.
you see everything up to it, but they never show you
And
her
there's
getting
actually a
shot and
movie
falling
about that
down.
too. Um,
Yeah, like what? Like, do you think that they should have shown that to the audience?
yeah. I would think how they display it. Um, and what I mean by that is there is a grotesque way that you could do it,
Yeah.
and then there's a way that you can do it where stylistically the impact is still felt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I would like to see the vision of the director and how he does it. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
if you're doing it for shock value, nah. But if you're doing it for to lend gravitas to the emotional toll that it bears on him,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it would have been something that they should have done.
Yeah. The movie doesn't show you, and I noticed that like a couple different times, and I kept thinking I was gonna see it, but I
Yeah,
never did. So that's
yeah.
why. Yeah. So I was asking
But I
about
also get why they didn't, because he couldn't get past that point, and he wouldn't want the lasting memory of her
it.
lying like that. You know what I mean?
So you're
Like,
saying that we don't, as the audience, we only see it up to the part that he sees it.
yeah, that's what I
Okay.
really think.
Okay. All right. I could dig that. All right. That's my question, man. That's
All
what I got.
right. All right. First question. Can an individual with no combative training effectively take on a covert mission using just their intellect and existing skills?
No, not if they got to go against people who have been trained.
Mm.
like you can like a. All right. So think about it like this. Okay. Every day in America, like random people kind of do things like hack people's phones
Yeah.
and like, track people and put an AirPod in your bag. Like you could do all that, right? People do it. And you can do that in regular life against regular people with regular jobs. But if
Mm.
your job is actually intelligence and counterintelligence, that's not going to work,
Yeah.
right? So I don't think that a regular person who's untrained is going to be able to keep up with people that are, because they're gonna feel, they're gonna sense you,
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
around. Like you just get used to when you're being set up after a
Mm-hmm.
while.
Mm-hmm.
They would see him come in, and Rami Malek, he's got a very unique face. Like
Yeah.
they would see him and be like, oh, he was at the joint where they tried to get the
Mm-hmm.
girl.
Mm-hmm.
He's done. They would have got him.
Yeah. Definitely. I agree with that. What ethical boundaries are crossed when personal vengeance overrides official channels and protocols?
Yeah, this reminds me of this is a great question. It reminds me back to when we did the Ides of March, right? And
Yeah.
there was a
Yeah.
scene where George Clooney is talking and he says, like,
His
if someone
wife.
killed my wife,
Yeah.
right, I would want to kill them. But me wanting to do that doesn't mean that the society condones it.
Mm-hmm.
That person still needs to be able to go to jail or go to trial. Maybe they get the death penalty. I can want to kill them, but even if I did, then I go to jail too for
Mm-hmm.
doing it, right? I think like there has to be some sort of set of rules and laws if you're going to have a society. If you're
Mm.
not going to have a society, then it's whatever. Then it's like the Western.
Yeah.
You come into town, I come into town, we got a problem, we shoot out in the street, everybody drinks beer. But if you're going to have a society with rules and everybody's not going to be have a gun and have playing cops and robbers, then there has to be rules and there has to be something that says I can't just go out and try to kill the people that
Mm.
killed the person I know. And at a certain point, if we're really keeping it 100, even in this film, the guy who killed his wife is the last guy. The other
Yeah.
people were just working with him.
Mm-hmm.
Now you killing people that just work at the building, like you killing people at the job on the job. Like
Mm-hmm.
they didn't pull the trigger. Go to that guy. That would be the real vengeance. So even for him, Charlie's character at the end, he's really killed four people, three of whom are just terrorists.
Yeah.
Not that that's good, but the one, and the one that actually did the murder went to jail, ironically.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I think you could rationalize it as though he got payback for those who couldn't.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is like this is his redemption song where he's able to come to his senses and recognize that being a vigilante isn't all that it's cracked up to be. It's not effective.
Yeah.
It leads to chaos, et cetera, et cetera.
And let me just say this
Yeah.
as a quick, and it's ironic because Jon Bernthal is in this film.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the arguments that happen in the Daredevil show,
Yeah.
particularly in season 2, between Daredevil and the Punisher, deals with just what you're saying now.
Mm-hmm.
This idea of, can you just get the revenge, right? And what
Mm-hmm.
happens if you don't? And what's the revolving door of crime that happens? And just like that push and pull is like the fundamental question of like, what is the real justice in society when somebody kills somebody you love or does something harmful to them.
Yeah, definitely. How does the transformation from analyst to field operative affect one's identity and moral compassion?
Yeah, I think that so the movie sort of ends with like saying like Charlie's still gonna be keep working at the CIA. I guess
Yep,
he's still
yep,
gonna be
yep.
a cryptographer, but he's got to look at the field much different now,
Mm.
and the field has got to look at him much different now, right?
Mm.
So he can't go. I wonder like to go back to the nerd table. Does he sit at the table with them anymore? Does Jon Bernthal
Ah,
come and sit with him? Does he sit somewhere else? Because now he's been in the field.
yeah.
Everybody knows, like, yo, this guy knocked off 3 people on,
Mm.
the CIA's most wanted list and arrested the third,
How
arrested the
about
fourth.
that?
Like, what I mean? He got to get a mug that says #1 employee or something. At least on the tape. You're like, yo, gold star for you, man. Pizza for everybody. Because Charlie got all these people.
Pizza Fridays. Oh man.
Pizza Fridays for Charlie. Like, I don't know how he goes back to his regular stuff. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I don't know how anybody treats him like he can go back to the regular stuff because he also did blackmail the CIA.
Yeah.
he did a
And
lot of
bug
stuff.
them and yeah. I
Right.
dig it, man. Last but not least, in a world of espionage, can trust be established and how is it maintained amid deceit and betrayal?
It can't be.
Mm.
It can't be. Like, yo, even Henderson made Charlie think he was dead.
Yeah.
And he wasn't dead. Like once you get to that level of deceit, I almost was wondering during the movie if the wife was actually dead or not because we never really saw
Wow.
her die on camera.
Okay.
I knew that she was, but
No, but you still maybe she'll pop
right
up
because it's
somewhere.
because it's an espionage movie and it's
Mm-hmm.
a spy movie, anything is possible.
Mm.
So I was watching like I don't know. So no, how can you trust anybody once you a part of this life in this world?
Yeah.
So
That's
that's what
dope.
that is.
How many
All right,
popcorn
man.
boxes are you giving this joint, man?
Yo, four.
Okay.
Yo, four even. I enjoyed watching this movie. I'm glad that we did it. I'm glad you picked it. I think it's something that people should see. It's gonna be entertaining. It's a good film. I've already
I'm
told like several people to go check it out.
Yeah, I'm with CJ on that. Same reasons. And the thing too that's really dope. I'll say this before we draw things to a close with the hot takes. Um, Most movies when they give the commercials, whatever, they use like cutting room floor stuff. But this actually
Mhm.
used stuff that was still in the movie, and it still entertained me. It still grabbed me. It still kept my attention. Like I was still
Yeah.
eager to see it expanded upon, and it did a great job of that. So kudos to everyone involved with the project that still kept the wholeness and the integrity of the film.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It was a good film. Good watch.
Yeah,
Check it out if you haven't. All right. Hot takes. Hot takes. You want me to go first? You want to go first?
that's cool. You can go
I'll
first.
go first. All right. So here's my hot take on this film. And it's going to be kind of tied to um just sort of where movies are now and where shows are. This is a really good movie. My hot take is that I would have watched this as a series.
Mm,
If this had been a Netflix series, keep the same cast, right? But give each of these storylines a chance to really breathe. Because there's one storyline of, okay, Charlie trying to catch the people that are responsible for his wife's death. Then you have, what does his relationship with Inquiline look like over time? If they get
mm,
it, like I know it starts off kind of innocent, but could it develop into a romance? Is there guilt that they feel
mm,
about that? Does Henderson catch him? Does Henderson feel guilty about trying to catch him? Can we get Jon Bernthal's character in there doing some stuff too?
mm.
Can Charlie become a better field operative over time? And what I was thinking is like, remember how in Snowfall, how in the beginning, the beginning kind of what's his name, Francis Saint, right? Saint
Mm.
is not really a drug dealer, but by
Right.
the end he is because
Mm.
6 seasons gives him the chance to grow to that. If you take this movie and you do it over like a 3 season or 4 season show,
Mm.
by the end, Charlie may be actually an effective person in the
Yeah.
field
Dope.
because he's been on the road doing this. It would just allow these stories to grow and like maybe, how does the director figure out that these two guys are working against her in the agency? There were so many good storylines here, and the movie delivers on compressing them down, but there was room to really blow this out and have like a really interesting show.
Yo,
That's my
that's a
hot.
dope take, man. That is a dope take.
Thank you.
Oh man, you know what? This should be on like some Netflix,
It would be good, man. The Amateur.
Amazon, yeah, something like that. All right, CJ. Okay, I
It
see
would
you
be
cooking.
interesting, man. I would watch it.
Yeah, not save here. Um, my hot take is we always talk about movies shouldn't be remade, and we question if this was a good remake or whatever have you. I would say that this is a prime example of an obscure movie that should be remade, and I think that if with the technological advances, a lot of those movies that were done and they weren't of the utmost quality, this
Hmm.
is what could happen if you utilize the things that we have to our advantage right now
I got you.
to
Hmm.
make these movies better. Um, you know, there's a lot of movies out there where I'm like, man, you know, what if we could do this? As a matter of fact, one of them that comes to mind is American Ninja. And I was
Oh
thinking like,
yeah, 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 yeah. Yep, yep.
and I remember seeing Wrath of the Ninja in the movie theaters, and like the way that the ninjas are able to lend itself to the darkness and night and everything. And I was like,
Hmm.
yo, that's just Ninja Gaiden on screen. Like, all right,
Yeah,
cool. So you know, I was like, you know what? This movie not only it didn't disappoint because you know I'm sitting there like it's not going to live up to the hype of what I'm seeing on the screen with the cutaways and stuff, but it exceeded my expectations
it was. It
because
did.
I've already been like, yeah, another remake, another redo, whatever have you. This is not going to be good. But no, this is dope. Like the aspect of the relationship that they don't have between Inquiline and Charlie
Hmm.
in the 81 version, they do have a relationship. They do fall in love. And
Ah, okay.
so
I can
like
see that.
things like that, like where they're able to hint at it, it still keeps the focus on Charlie being a man who loves his ex-wife,
Yeah,
excuse me, his deceased wife, and he's doing this as a part of closure, healing, redemption, honoring her. Like it's multifaceted. It makes sense, but it doesn't make sense at the same time of why this ordinary guy would seek vengeance. So I
yeah.
think we should look into that plethora of videos and movies and such that will give inspiration to things in the future.
Yeah, I like that. I like that take as well. And I was surprised that it was a remake. So
Yeah.
when you said that, that was like, wow, that's I didn't think about that way. It also makes me wonder, yo, how come they don't make ninja movies anymore? Of all the yo, ninjas are fun.
Yo,
Like I would like to see a martial arts ninja. That's right. I used to love those movies, man. Yo, where's Hollywood with the ninja movie,
that's what I'm
man? That's
saying.
a good. The last thing I saw that was sort of like that was Snake Eyes, right? It was like
Yeah.
the last movie
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of along those lines.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's an interesting take, man. All right, so yeah, so that's our hot takes. That's our breakdown of the Amateur. It's in theaters now. Check it out. We highly recommend it.
Yep.
It's a good movie watch. Next week we are coming back with another movie that will be in theaters. Ryan Coogler and my man Michael B. Jordan, not in a Marvel film,
Yes. Go
but in
figure.
another original project. We're going to be checking out Sinners. Come back and check that out, see what we think about it. Once again, the Sticky Floors podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Spotify Podcasts, we are on YouTube, where we want you to like, subscribe, and share and comment too as well, because we like the engagement and it helps us to do this better. We'll see you next week. Peace.